To save my fiancée, I suffered third-degree burns over 90% of my body, leaving me unrecognizable. Yet, in my moments of greatest agony, she embezzled my entire settlement payout and turned around to marry my wealthy father's illegitimate son, my stepbrother. While I starved to death in a damp, sunless basement, they were holding a grand wedding at the world's most luxurious hotel, exchanging rings that symbolized eternity. When I opened my eyes again, I was back at the moment the fire started. Thick smoke billowed, and flames licked the ceiling. "Julian, save me. I am scared." My fiancée, Elena Cross, screamed desperately from the heart of the inferno. I looked at her terrified face and smiled. I turned around and, for her sake, gently closed the heavy door of the only escape route. "In this life, you and my dear brother are locked in. I wish you a lifetime of happiness together." The scorching air stabbed my lungs like steel needles, every breath bringing the searing pain of blisters. Around me was the crackling sound of exploding timber and black smoke so thick it was solid. Wasn't I dead? I had died in that basement where the sun never shone, with only rats and roaches for company, consumed by hunger and infection. I remembered that before I died, my skeletal fingers didn't even have the strength to lift up. My phone screen was live streaming the wedding of the century. Elena, wearing the gown I had personally designed for her, nestled blissfully in another man's arms. That man was my half-brother, Caleb Thorne. The guests filled the seats, applause thundering. And I, the cripple who had been burned beyond recognition to save her, swallowed my last breath in a dark corner like a stray dog no one cared about. My heart contracted violently, the pain suffocating me instantly. Julian Thorne, save me. I'm here." A shrill scream yanked me out of the hellish memory. I looked up sharply. Through the flickering firelight, I saw the face I would never forget for eternity. Elena. She was trapped in the second-floor studio. The flames had already sealed off the stairs. She was draped over the windowsill, her face streaked with tears and terror, waving frantically at me in the courtyard. The studio, the fire. Memories flooded back like a tidal wave. It was this fire. In my past life, to celebrate our engagement, I had rented this suburban villa. A fire broke out that night. I didn't hesitate to rush in, wrapping her in a soaked quilt and carrying her out of the sea of fire. I was severely burned all over my body. She didn't lose a hair. While I lay in the ICU, enduring the bone-scraping pain of dressing changes every day, she and Caleb took meticulous care of me. They told me my father's company was tight on cash, and my medical bills were a bottomless pit. They persuaded me to sell the shares in real estate my grandfather had left me to pay for treatment and secure my future. I believed them. I signed everything over to them. Then, they transferred me from the expensive private hospital to that dark basement. They said it was to take better care of me. Only the moment I starved to death did I understand. That wasn't care. It was imprisonment. That wasn't love. It was murder. "Julian, are you deaf? Come save me." Elena's crying turned shrill and angry, carrying a hint of impatient command. In her eyes, it was only natural for me to do anything for her. I looked at her. The pain of being incinerated by fire and gnawed by betrayal in my past life turned into bone-chilling ice. I pulled the corner of my mouth into a cold sneer. "Save you? Sure." I picked up a burning timber beam and smashed it hard against the fire hydrant in the yard. A jet of water sprayed out. Elena's eyes flashed with joy. "Quick, use the water. Put out the fire." I ignored her. Instead, I aimed the high-pressure water at the villa's only escape route, the heavy solid wood side door. In my past life, I had rammed this door open to get her out. The freezing water hit the scorching hot door lock, making a sizzling sound and sending up a cloud of white mist. The metal lock core, under the extreme thermal shock, would seize up completely. After doing all this, I dropped the hose and looked up at the face behind the window, which had turned from confusion to shock and finally to terror because of my actions. "Julian, what are you doing? Are you crazy?" I flashed her a brilliant smile and mouthed the words, "Wait for your hero." With that, I didn't spare her another glance. I turned and walked away from the villa. The sirens of fire trucks approached from a distance. I knew Caleb would be here soon. In a last life, he had appeared coincidentally just before the fire department arrived, staging a great show of a hero saving the beauty. In this life, the stage is still yours. I just added a little spice for you, too. Hope you like it. I didn't go far. I found a blind spot out of sight of the fire trucks and ambulances and leaned quietly behind a large oak tree. My cheap shirt was soaked in sweat and ash, sticking uncomfortably to my skin. But my mood right now was calmer than it had ever been. Soon, a black Porsche screeched to a halt at the villa's entrance with an arrogant drift. The door opened, and a man wearing designer clothes with hair slicked back with oil rushed out. Caleb Thorne, my nominal brother. He looked up and saw Elena trapped on the second floor, his face instantly plastering on expression of anxiety and worry. Oscar-level acting. Elena, don't be afraid. I'm coming to get you. As he shouted, he familiarly grabbed a coil of climbing rope and carabiners from the trunk. Looks like he came prepared. Seeing him, Elena looked like she had seen the Messiah, crying with even more pear-blossom fragility. Caleb, I'm so scared. Julian went crazy. He locked the door. A glint of viciousness flashed in Caleb's eyes, but it was immediately covered by a thicker layer of deep affection. That loser. Forget him. Elena, trust me. He threw one end of the rope up to the second-floor balcony railing, tied a beautiful knot, and then began to climb up, hand over foot. The ear-piercing sirens of the fire trucks finally arrived. The firefighters quickly set up a perimeter and laid out hoses. And Caleb, just at this moment, climbed onto the second-floor balcony and embraced the weeping Elena. What a beautiful rescue. What a touching love story. Neighbors began to gather, pointing at them and murmuring in admiration. That young man is so brave. Yeah, his girlfriend was trapped inside, and he risked his life to save her. That's true love. I watched all this, the arc of my smile growing wider. Soon, paramedics rushed over and brought the shaken couple down. Only then did I slowly walk out from behind the tree, wearing a look of perfectly timed panic and confusion, running toward the crowd. Elena, how are you? I rushed in front of Elena, reaching out to grab her hand, but Caleb shoved me away. Get lost, loser. He glared at me viciously, then turned to Elena, his tone instantly becoming gentle. Elena, are you okay? Are you hurt? Elena hid in Caleb's arms, looking at me with eyes full of disgust and contempt. Julian, I never thought you were this kind of person. You ran away first in a crisis and locked the door. Were you trying to kill me? Her voice was shrill and tearful, as if she had suffered a massive injustice. I stood frozen in place, my face full of disbelief and hurt. The whispers around us instantly changed direction. What? So he's the boyfriend? He ran away by himself? No way. He even locked the door? That's attempted murder. You really can't judge a book by its cover. He looks human, but his heart is so venomous. Countless needles pricked my ears. It was a stark contrast to the sympathetic, pitying gazes of my previous life. I looked at the adulterous pair before me, one playing the victim, the other the savior, coordinating flawlessly. They thought this would nail me to the pillar of shame. They thought this would allow them to logically strip me of everything. I lowered my eyelids, my body trembling slightly, and spoke in a hoarse voice. I didn't mean to. I was too scared. I thought the door was broken. I wanted to use water to cool it down. My defense was pale and weak, earning only a harsher mockery from Elena. Scared? You're a grown man and you were scared? I think you're just selfish. Julian, I see right through you now. Caleb held her, looking down at me with a victor's smirk. All right, Elena, don't waste your breath on this kind of person. Let's go to the hospital for a checkup. He embraced Elena, walking toward the ambulance amidst the crowd's praise. As he passed me, he whispered in a voice only the two of us could hear, scorn dripping from every syllable. Loser, the game has just begun. I raised my head, meeting his provocative gaze, and retorted in an equally low voice. Yeah, let's play. His smile froze on his face. The hospital corridor reeked of disinfectant, the white walls blindingly bright. Elena and Caleb were sent to the ER for a comprehensive checkup, while I was left out in the cold. Soon, my honorable father, Richard Thorne, and his trophy wife, who had climbed her way up, Meredith, arrived in a rush. They charged straight into Caleb's room, asking about his health with faces full of concern. Caleb, my good son, are you hurt anywhere? Meredith grabbed Caleb's hand, tears flowing on command. Dad, Mom, I'm fine. Just inhaled some smoke. Elena is fine too. Caleb put on a sensible and brave front. Richard patted his shoulder, eyes full of approval. Good job. A true son of Richard Thorne. You have guts. The family of three, harmonious and happy. It was as if I, the eldest son who also bore the name Thorne, was heir. Only after they finished their performance of paternal love and filial piety did Richard finally turn his gaze to me. That look, it was like looking at a piece of trash. Julian, he shouted sternly, you still have the face to stand here. I stood there and didn't speak. I'm asking you, why did you run away first during the fire? And why lock the door? Did you want to kill Elena? You coward. You ungrateful wolf. His spit practically sprayed onto my face. In my last life, when I was burned severely, he visited me once, threw down a card, and said coldly, "This is your medical money. Don't bother me again." The money on that card wasn't even enough for a week of treatment. And now, I was unharmed, yet he glared at me with rage. How ironic. Dad, I finally spoke, my voice unnervingly calm. I didn't. You dare argue. Richard raised his hand in anger. Dad, Caleb stopped him with fake sincerity. Forget it. Don't blame Julian. He was probably just terrified. He turned to me, speaking earnestly. Julian, I know you're timid, but Elena is your fiancée. How could you leave her alone? Fortunately, I arrived in time. Otherwise, he didn't finish, but the implication was clear. Elena walked out of the examination room, her eyes red, leaning against Caleb. She looked at me with disappointment. Julian, we're done, she said coldly. I can't marry a man who abandons me in the face of danger. The engagement is off. Here it comes. The exact same script as the last life. Except last time, she said it when I was lying paralyzed and disfigured in a hospital bed. This time, it was ahead of schedule. Okay, I said just one word. Everyone froze. Elena probably thought I would cry and beg, hugging her legs in repentance. Richard and Meredith also thought I would panic. But I didn't. I accepted it calmly. Elena's face instantly turned ugly. She felt like she had punched cotton. Her carefully prepared tragic drama had lost its audience. Since the engagement is off, I interrupted her, my gaze sweeping over everyone present. Then there are some things we need to settle. I turned to Richard. Dad, before Mom passed away, didn't Grandfather transfer that plot of land on the south side to my name, saying it was a wedding gift? Richard's face changed. Why are you bringing that up? Nothing, I just want it back. I said indifferently. Since I'm not getting married, I should handle that land myself. That land was the last safeguard Grandfather left me. In my last life, Richard and Meredith tricked me out of it under the guise of safekeeping, and it eventually fell into Caleb's hands. A few years later, that land was rezoned as a new commercial hub, its value multiplying 100-fold. Nonsense, Richard raged. That land was left by your grandfather for the Thorne family. Since when did it become yours alone? Your wings have hardened, and now you want to split the family assets. Dad, the deed of gift has my name written in black and white, along with grandfather's signature and a lawyer's notarization. I enunciated every word, my voice not loud but sharp as an ice pick. If you don't acknowledge it, we can meet in court. Richard trembled with anger. Meredith quickly stepped in to smooth things over. Oh, Julian, what are you doing? We're a family. Why talk about court? Your dad is doing this for your own good. You're young, holding on to such a large piece of land. We're afraid you'll get scammed. Yeah, Julian, Caleb chimed in. Dad has been managing that land for you. Don't worry about it. I looked at their hypocritical faces, and a crazy idea formed in my mind. I wouldn't let this go. I'm not discussing this with you. I looked straight into Richard's eyes. I am notifying you. Within 3 days, hand over the deed and relevant documents to me. Otherwise, a lawyer's letter will arrive at the company on time. After speaking, ignoring their ashen faces, I turned to leave. At the door, I remembered something and looked back at Elena. By the way, the betrothal gifts my family sent, the jewelry, and that red Maserati. Please return them all. After all, you're my brother's girlfriend now. Using your ex-fiancée's family heirlooms isn't appropriate. Elena's face instantly turned as white as a sheet of paper. I didn't go back to that so-called home. Instead, I took a taxi straight to a hotel downtown. After a hot shower and changing out of the clothes that reeked of smoke and fire, I finally felt alive. Lying on the soft king-size bed, I began to strategize. Breaking the engagement was just the first step. Getting the deed back was the second. But this was far from enough. I wanted them to pay 1,000 times over for what they did in the last life. Richard, Meredith, Caleb, and none of them would escape. I took out my phone and dialed a number that had gathered dust in my memory. The phone rang for a long time before being picked up. Hello. An aged but robust voice answered. Grandpa Sterling. I spoke, my voice choking up slightly. There was silence on the other end for a few seconds. Is that Julian? Arthur Sterling was my late grandfather's best friend and a highly renowned lawyer. After my grandparents passed away, he became the only family I had left. In my last life, after the accident, Caleb and the others cut off all my contact with the outside world. I never even had the chance to ask him for help. It's me, Grandpa Sterling. Child, why haven't you contacted me for so long? Did something happen? Arthur's voice was full of concern. I ran into some trouble and need your help. I didn't mention the rebirth. I simply recounted the fire, the broken engagement, and the dispute with Richard over the land deed. That bastard, Arthur roared on the other end after listening. Richard Thorne is becoming less of a human by the day. Your grandfather was blind to let his daughter marry him. Julian, don't be afraid. Leave this to me. Never mind that the gift deed is in your hands. Even if it wasn't, that was your mother's premarital property. Richard has no right to dictate anything. I'll send someone to have a talk with him tomorrow. Arthur's swift and decisive nature put half my worries to rest. Thank you, Grandpa Sterling. Silly boy. No need to be polite with me. Arthur's tone softened. Where are you now? Are you safe alone outside? I'm at the Langham downtown. I'm Euphine. All right, rest well. Even if the sky falls, Grandpa is here to hold it up for you. Hanging up the phone, a warm current surged in my heart. So this is what it feels like to be cared about. Early the next morning, I received several messages on my phone. They were from Caleb. Julian, don't be impulsive. Dad is doing this for your own good. We can talk about the land slowly. Come home first. Mom made you soup. Elena is in a bad mood. Don't provoke her anymore. Hypocritical faces, sickening. I blocked and deleted him immediately. Not long after, a strange number called. I picked it up. It was Elena. Her voice was tearful and pitiful. Julian, I know I was wrong. I shouldn't have said those things about breaking the engagement in anger. Come back, okay? Let's make up. Are you angry because I'm close to Caleb? We're just friends. Don't misunderstand. Have friends? In my last life, when you two were putting on a live porn show by my hospital bed, that's not what you said. Elena, I interrupted her performance. Do you know what I hate most about you? She froze. It's this attitude of acting like a whore, but wanting a monument to your chastity. The other end of the line went dead silent. Then came a sharp shriek of cursing. Julian, you bastard. How dare you say that to me? Dare to do it, but don't dare to admit it? I sneered. Yesterday at the hospital, when you were leaning in Caleb's arms accusing me of being a coward, weren't you very self-righteous? What? Now you want to come back and be my fiancé? Is it because of that land, or those jewels? You are shameless. Right back at you. I hung up directly. I knew they were panicking. Because of Arthur Sterling's intervention, they realized that using emotional blackmail to seize my property wouldn't work. So they started using soft and hard tactics. Unfortunately, the current me was no longer the fool blinded by love. Around noon, Arthur called. Julian, it's done. Richard, that old fox, tried to play dumb at first. I had my assistant show him the draft of the legal summons, and he folded immediately. The deed and documents will be sent to you this afternoon. That fast. I was surprised. Does he dare to be slow? His company has a major project pending approval recently. If a scandal about embezzling his stepson's property breaks out now, see who dares to work with him. Arthur's voice carried a hint of triumph. My heart skipped a beat. A major project? In my past life, Richard had relied on this very project to multiply the company's market value several times over, giving him enough capital to trample me completely underfoot. A plan for revenge slowly formed in my mind. Grandpa Sterling, do you know the specifics of that project? It seems to be a collaboration with a new energy company on the west side called Aurora Tech. Aurora Tech. I memorized the name. That afternoon, the doorbell rang at the hotel. It was Richard's secretary, a woman with gold-rimmed glasses who looked shrewd. She respectfully handed me a document envelope, wearing a professional smile. Mr. Thorne, these are the items, Mr. Richard Thorne asked to be given to you. Please check them. I opened the envelope. The deed, the property title, and several equity transfer agreements. Everything was there. Most importantly, the original deed of gift with grandfather's signature. I checked it carefully, confirming everything was correct. Tell Richard, I put the envelope away. Looking at the secretary, we'll settle our debts slowly. The secretary's smile froze for a moment, but she quickly recovered, bowing and retreating. Getting back what belonged to me lifted a weight off my chest. But this was just the beginning. I opened my laptop and started searching for information on Aurora Tech. It was a small company established not long ago, focusing on the development of a new type of battery technology. In my last life, I knew nothing about this. But now, with memories of the future, I knew exactly how valuable this technology was. 2 years from now, this tech would become a standard for global new energy vehicles, and Aurora Tech would jump to become a giant worth hundreds of billions. Richard hooking up with this line was pure luck, and what I had to do was cut off his luck. I carefully studied Aurora Tech's financing situation and founder information. The founder was Silas Vance, a typical tech geek who buried his head in R&D and was bad at socializing. The company was currently at a critical stage of Series A financing, urgently needing funds to complete the final technical breakthrough. It was at this time that Richard, an extremely low price secured 30% of their shares, becoming the largest external shareholder. Looking at Silas Vance's photo on the screen, a thought became clearer. I wanted to invest in Aurora before Richard did. I didn't just want to invest. I wanted to become the partner Silas trusted most. I calculated my assets. The land on the south side was worth about $50 million at current market prices. Adding other properties and cash left by grandfather, scraping together $100 million wasn't a problem. $100 million was an irresistible sum for the current Aurora. But the problem was how to make Silas trust me and choose me over the established Thorn Enterprises. I needed an opportunity for him to see my value, not just my money. I closed the laptop and dialed another number. Hey Mick, it's me. Jules? Holy shit, you finally contacted me. Are you okay? I heard your villa caught fire. A boisterous voice came from the other end. Mick was my college roommate and my best brother. After graduation, he became a financial journalist. In my last life, after my accident, he tried to visit me at the hospital but was blocked every time by Elena and Caleb under the pretext that I needed rest. I'm Phoenix. I smiled. I need a favor. Name it. Through hell or high water, brother won't hesitate. Help me check the recent movements of Aurora Tech. The more detailed, the better. Especially their technical patent applications and which investors they're currently in contact with. Aurora? Why are you interested in this company, Jules? They seem pretty hot recently. Several investment firms are fighting over them. I have my uses. Done. Leave it to me. I'll have info for you by tomorrow at the latest. Hanging up, I let out a long sigh of relief. The chessboard of revenge was set. Richard, Inanna. Are you ready to receive my first gift? That evening, while I was studying documents in the hotel room, the doorbell rang again. I thought it was room service, but when I opened the door, I saw an unexpected face. Elena. She had changed into a pure white dress, put on light makeup, and her eyes were red. She held a thermos in her hand. It was chicken soup from my favorite place. Seeing me, she squeezed out a fragile smile. Julian, I brought you soup. You haven't eaten all day. Your stomach will hurt. She tried to walk in, but I blocked her with my arm. What do you want? My tone was icy. She bit her lip, tears swirling in her eyes. I know you're still angry with me. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said those things yesterday. Forgive me, okay? As she spoke, she tried to hand me the thermos. I looked at her familiar face, written all over with grievance and deep affection. If I hadn't died once, I would have truly believed she loved me to the bone. Elena, I stared into her eyes. Pack up that cheap act. We're done. Take your stuff and get out. My voice wasn't loud, but it was like a knife dipped in ice. Her face went instantly pale. Julian, do you have to be so cruel? Elena's tears finally fell, drop by drop, like broken pearls. Are all our years of feelings gone just because of one accident? Do you trust me so little? Feelings? I looked at her like I had heard the world's biggest joke. Are you referring to the feelings you shared with my brother while cheating by my sickbed? Or the feelings where you two conspired to swindle all my property and let me starve to death? I deliberately lowered my voice, speaking so only the two of us could hear. The blood drained from Elena's face instantly. Her pupils constricted violently, her lips trembling, looking at me as if she had seen a ghost. What nonsense are you talking about? Her voice shook uncontrollably. Nonsense. I took a step forward, closing in on her, staring into her eyes. Then tell me, why was the emerald ring my grandfather left me on your finger while I was locked in that basement? That ring was worth millions, a keepsake from my mother. In my past life, I gave it to Elena as an engagement ring. Before I died, on the wedding livestream, I watched her wear it as she married Caleb. Elena backed away, 3 steps in terror. The thermos fell to the floor with a clatter, scalding soup splashing everywhere, steaming. She looked at me, her eyes filled with fear and disbelief. She didn't understand how I knew these things. Secrets that should have been buried forever with my death. I don't know what you're talking about. You're crazy. You've really gone crazy. She screamed, turned, and ran, fleeing like a stray dog. Watching her back, I felt no pleasure, only a cold silence. This was just the beginning. I wanted every one of you to taste all the pain I suffered. The next day, Mick sent over the information on Aurora Tech. It was even more detailed than I imagined. The data showed that Aurora's core technology, the solid-state electrolyte membrane, had a fatal flaw. In extreme low temperatures, conductivity would drop drastically, leading to severe battery performance degradation. This was the fundamental reason why all investors were hesitating and watching from the sidelines. And Richard, he didn't understand technology at all. He was just gambling. He bet that Silas Vance could solve this problem. In the last life, he won that bet. Silas discovered by chance that adding a rare earth element could perfectly solve the issue. But in this life, I wouldn't give him that chance, because I knew what that chance was. I knew the formula for that rare earth element. I got what I wanted and immediately booked a flight to Austin, where Aurora Tech's headquarters was located. I didn't tell anyone. While Richard was still frantically trying to secure investment qualifications, I was already standing in front of Silas Vance. Aurora's office was in a dilapidated tech park, looking very shabby. Silas himself looked more haggard than in the photos, with sunken eyes, stubble, and wearing a wash-worn plaid shirt. Seeing me, he was somewhat surprised. "Hello, who are you looking for?" "Mr. Vance, my name is Julian Thorne." I extended my hand. "I want to invest in your company." Silas paused, then shook his head with a bitter smile. "Mr. Thorne, I'm afraid I'll have to disappoint you. You can see the state of our company. The technical bottleneck hasn't been solved. I can't scam investors' money." He was honest, at least. "What if I can help you solve the technical bottleneck?" I looked at him and spoke slowly. Silas's eyes lit up instantly, but then dimmed again as he looked at me suspiciously. "Mr. Thorne, stop joking. Our team has gathered top experts from home and abroad, and none have solved it. Add 3 parts per thousand of yttrium to the electrolyte membrane and coat it using plasma spraying." I enunciated the paragraph clearly, word by word. The expression on Silas's face went from suspicion to shock, and then to ecstasy. He grabbed my shoulders violently, his strength astonishing. "You, how did you know? We only deduced this solution in the lab yesterday. We haven't even done the final verification." Of course I knew, because in my last life, the inspiration for this solution came from a paper on rare earth materials I published during college, which had been forgotten in a corner by Silas. In this life, I delivered it to him ahead of schedule. Not only do I know, but I also know that this solution isn't perfect. I broke free from his grip and continued. Plasma spraying is too costly for mass production. Moreover, after 500 charge-discharge cycles, yttrium migration will cause the coating to peel and performance will fall off a cliff. Silas was completely stunned. Every word I said struck his heart like a heavy hammer. These were exactly the problems he would face next, problems he wouldn't be able to solve for another year. Who exactly are you?" He looked at me like I was a monster. "Someone who can help you succeed." I smiled slightly. "Now, can we talk about investment? I want 51% of the shares. I didn't want a piece of the pie. I wanted the whole bakery." Silas was a smart man. When a profit falls from the sky and not only pinpoints your biggest current technical problem, but also predicts the pitfalls you'll encounter next, your only choice is to hold onto his leg tight. The negotiation went exceptionally smoothly. With $100 million in funds, plus follow-up technical guidance, I secured a 51% controlling stake in Aurora Tech. The remaining 49% belonged to Silas and his founding team. I became the new chairman of Aurora Tech. Silas continued as CEO, focusing on R&D. The moment the contract was signed, Silas looked at me with complex eyes. "Chairman Thorne, I'm still curious. How did you know all that? If I said I had a prophetic dream, would you believe me?" I joked. He didn't believe it, of course, but he didn't ask again. We both understood that some secrets don't need digging into. Having secured Aurora, I was in a great mood. I stayed in Austin for 2 more days, inspecting the market there. Austin was a key base for the new energy industry, with great potential. I had Arthur Sterling's team help liquidate some idle properties in my name and injected all the funds into Aurora, ready to go big. Just as I was preparing to return, I got a call from Mick. His voice sounded excited. "Jules, big news. Thorne Enterprises is in trouble." Oh, the project they were preparing to collaborate on with Aurora Tech fell through. I heard from inside sources that Aurora suddenly changed owners and kicked Thorne Enterprises out. Richard spent tens of millions on PR fees up front for this project, and now it's all down the drain. Rumor has it he threw a huge fit in the office today and smashed up the place. I could imagine Richard's exasperated face. There's something even juicier. Mick continued. "I heard that to help your dad secure this project, Caleb embezzled a sum of public funds to bribe contacts. Now that the project is dead, the hole in the accounts can't be plugged. Several old shareholders of Thorne Enterprises are making a fuss. It's going to be a good show." The smile on my lips grew deeper. What good news? This was just the appetizer. Back in Chicago, just as I got off the plane at O'Hare, I saw someone unexpected. Victoriale. She wore a sharp white suit, her long hair draped casually over her shoulders, standing at the exit like a beautiful landscape, attracting everyone's attention. She was the only daughter of the city's largest real estate conglomerate, Hale Group, and the group's vice president. A true favored daughter of heaven. We had met at a few business galas before, but were merely nodding acquaintances. Why was she here? Mr. Thorne, long time no see. Seeing me, she actively approached, a playful smile on her face. Ms. Holly. I was surprised. Are you waiting for me? Who else? She raised an eyebrow. Our Hale Group's venture capital arm has been very interested in a tech company called Aurora recently. But I heard this company was just acquired by a mysterious tycoon named Thorne. I was very curious which Mr. Thorne had such bold handwriting. Her eyes, like hooks, looked straight at me. I understood instantly. My moves had alerted her. Hale Group's VC department was known for its sharp eyes. It wasn't strange they targeted Aurora. Ms. Hale is well informed. I didn't deny it. So Mr. Thorne is now the chairman of Aurora. Her smile deepened. You hit it well. I thought Mr. Thorne was just an ordinary rich kid preparing to inherit the family business. Her words carried hidden meaning. You Joe, Ms. Holly. I responded lightly. I'm just a poor guy who was kicked out by his family and is preparing to start his own business. Oh, is that so? Victoria circled me, her gaze scrutinizing me unscrupulously. But why do I feel that, Mr. Thorne doesn't look pitiful at all, but rather like a wolf preparing to hunt. This woman was too sharp. Ms. Hill didn't find me just to confirm this, right? I didn't want to beat around the bush. Of course not. She stopped in front of me, her red lips parting slightly. We at Hale Group also want to invest in Aurora. Chairman Thorne, name a price. Sorry, Ms. Holly. I shook my head. Aurora is not accepting any external investment at this time. Really? She leaned closer, a faint scent of perfume filling my nose. What if I said we can not only give money, but also give you exclusive rights to supply charging stations for all Hale Group real estate projects? Doesn't that tempt you? I had to admit, this condition was hugely tempting, but I had my plan. Not tempted, I looked straight into her eyes. Aurora's future is more than this. Victoria Post. She probably hadn't expected to be rejected so bluntly. She stared at me for a few seconds, then suddenly laughed. Interesting. Julian, you've successfully piqued my interest. She took a card from her clutch and tucked it into my suit pocket. This is my private number. If you change your mind, call me anytime. Or, if you don't want to talk business and want to talk about something else, that works too. She finished, winked at me, turned, and walked away in her high heels, swaying gracefully. I looked at her back, then at the card in my pocket. This woman was an enchantress, and a dangerous signal. She and her Hale Group were a variable in my revenge plan. I had to be careful.